Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Vanity Table podcast. This is Seanna Miriah Sutton, your host for this episode, number 4. I don't know how many I'm going to be doing on a weekly or monthly basis. It's either going to be once a week or once a month. We'll see how it goes, but I am trying to build them up right now. So if you're seeing them everywhere and you decided to subscribe or follow along, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, but I'm trying. I'm trying to figure it out. So bear with me as I do that. Anyway, the look today is actually inspired by this Max Factor ad. It's Lucille Ball, and she has a really, for those of you who are listening, I'm going to describe it, not too much focused on the eye. This is about this red lip. Oh my God, you guys. Alcone makes the most beautiful. Why do I look like I need, like my bangs need? Hang on a second. My bangs look smooshed to my face. And it's probably because it wasn't hair washing day yet, but I did a body shower last night, and then I probably got them wet and then fell asleep with my eye mask on and didn't fluff them back up. There we go. See, look at that. Isn't that incredible? Sorry for those of you who are listening and you're like, oh, what did she do? Verb's Volume Dry Texture Spray. A savior for in-between hair washing days. Not sponsored. But this Alcone it's called Hot Red Hot. It's so amazing, this formula. It feels like it's gripping your lip when you apply it. It's not matte, it's not too satin, it's just right. It's the Goldilocks of red formulas. Really beautiful. So I did a little mini toot on this red lip, how I get that perfect red lip, and this was the example red that I used for it. So hopefully you guys caught that, and if you didn't, it's over on my YouTube, my Instagram, my TikToks, everywhere. That is the inspiration look for today. So something sort of classic, but really focused on a red, because I haven't worn a red in a while, and I haven't self-tanned in a hot minute either. And reds, I tend to like more when my skin looks a little bit more on the pale side, unless I'm doing a tan. Now, if you're doing a self-tan and you're looking a lot more golden bronzed, then grab for those orangey reds and those deep oranges and those brick reds, because they look so pretty when you have more tan. But when I'm more on my pale neutral side, I like these in the middle reds. It's really pretty. So anyway, let's dive into episode number 4. We're going to talk a little at the end about makeup trials and my best tips for doing a trial and things that you definitely don't want to skip or forget to do, because they're very important things. Stay tuned for that. If you're an aspiring MUA, or if you are a current MUA and you don't do this, you might be like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Because we love sharing tips and ideas with each other, don't we? I love, love, love when somebody I know who's an active, I mean, who else is going to be able to tell you these cool things except for somebody who's actively out there doing it. So please, by all means, share your secrets, share your best tips and things that will help all of us do better in our jobs. But with that said, let's just dive into a chatty little corner of some makeup things that I have on my mind. Oh my gosh, you guys, last night I started the documentary about Jayne Mansfield. Have you guys seen her lips? Have you seen her lips? I could not believe my eyes. I couldn't stop staring at her mouth. I am one of those people, though, who like eyes and mouths really pull me in. So if you have a nice mouth and nice teeth, or your eyes are really captivating, I will be obsessed with you. I will be like, I cannot stop staring at your features. It's probably the makeup artist in me, because I'm thinking, gosh, what I could do with that. But her freaking lips, dude. Now, I would say if you're driving, do not do it. But right now I'm going to have her on my screen. And also, if you are driving and you're listening, just Google Jayne Mansfield and look at her freaking face, her lips and her teeth. My God. So she obviously did not have lip injections, obviously. And that's what triggered this whole, well, when did when did we have lip injections? For transparency, I've had my lips done 3 times. Now, when I do it, I get that hyaluronic, Juvederm. And the first time I did it, we really went baby step. Like, I was scared. I did not want fake looking lips. So we really, really carefully did that first round. And then I loved it so much when they were swollen that I went back and I got the second. And that kind of was where I was like, okay, I'm happy with this. And then probably 3 years went by before I had anything done, and just recently went back in because I was like, "Okay, they're deflating." And since it's hyaluronic, it just naturally absorbs into your skin and does kind of fade out. And then also, I love that my injectioner does what's, like, called a mini, and it's really just a half needle, a half, I don't know what it's called. I don't know what the amounts are, but it's a half of one, and so you just get the tiniest little bit, and it's perfect, and it's really affordable. So it makes it to where I can access this, lovely little way of upgrading something that I think could use a little help. Because my top lip was basically non-existent. My bottom lip was fine, but my top lip wasn't, and so now we have them a little bit more even. Now, it is a thing where you get something done and you're like, "Oh, I think I want more," and then you don't know when to stop, because I could when I'm right now, if you're listening, I'm pulling on my top lip to practice what it would look like if it was just a little fuller. I mean, that's totally Lucy Ball's lip right there. You know how she has this, like, 2 Ricky. She has this 2, like, her Cupid's bow is wide. So, anyway, so I'm gonna read you guys the history of lip augmentation a little bit here. So this is all from Wikipedia. I am basically just taking this information straight from Wikipedia. Lip augmentation is a cosmetic procedure. Fillers such as collagen or implants. Now, implants, that scares me. I could not have done that. Around the 1900s, surgeons tried injecting paraffin into the lips without success. Then liquid silicone was used for augmentation in the early 60s, but was abandoned 30 years later due to fears about the effects of silicone on your health over time, which I think a lot of women who have had breast implants figured that out and had to have them taken out because they were getting sick from their breast implants, which is very scary. So 1980, injectable bovine collagen was introduced to the cosmetic surgery market and became the standard against which other injectable fillers were measured. In the late 1990s is when more substances, biocompatible materials commonly used in medical applications for years, were more available and for augmenting thinning or misshapen lips. Yeah, the implants is wild. There's also fat transfers, Restylane, which is very close to hyaluronic acid. Yeah, no, I just do the hyaluronic. So anyway, non-surgical procedures, something that you could do too is you can do the tattoo blushing. So lip blushing gives the illusion of a bigger lip because it looks more, you can see pigmentation, you can see color, and you can actually draw a little outside of the lip line to give the appearance of a bigger lip. So I do know that lip blushing is, if you're not somebody who likes injectables, but you have no issues with tattoos, lip blushing is a thing. That is something I considered learning since I already have my PMU certification. It's just another branch of that. And I think that would be something I would be more interested in, lip blushing and freckling, than I would with brows. But I just don't know, like, how to get that started here. But yeah, that is just my quick background of like lip augmentation and how long that has been around, because I had to know, did Jayne Mansfield have lip injections? And she did not. She was blessed. She was blessed with perfect lips. She really was. And her story is really sad. She had that pinup vibe to her. She was a pinup. She got in a really tragic car accident and died, and her kids were in the car with her. So this whole documentary is from her daughter, who is in the one who put this whole thing together. And she was 3, I think, or 5 when she lost her mother. So it was like a tribute to her mom, this whole thing. So there's tons of video, tons of photos. And it was really sad to see, like, she really wanted to be respected as an actress, but because she had gone the route of being a pinup, she had lost that respect and was only seen as a sex symbol. She even had this interview she was doing where she wanted to show that she could play the violin. She played this, like, beautiful sonata. And the freaking guy who was what a turd. The interviewer guy was like, "Shut up and kiss me," and like looked at the audience and winked, and the audience was full of all of these like military dudes in uniform, and they all start laughing and clapping, and she's like, "No, no, I really wanted to like actually play." Nobody respected her because of that. So no longer are you able to, well, not no longer, never were you able to cross the threshold of being a sex symbol pinup, curves, big boobs, blonde hair, the bimbo, and then try to be taken seriously. Even though she was an actress and she was in plenty of movies, she just didn't apparently, this is according to the documentary, get the roles that she wished she had been able to get because nobody really took her serious as an actress. And she was so smart. She played piano, she played violin, she played, yeah, she played all these instruments, she sang, and then she spoke like 3 or 4 languages. I mean, the woman was a genius, and she was, like, so beautiful. And apparently, her hair was so fried from bleaching it over and over again that she wore wigs a lot. So a lot of times in those 60s flashback photos and videos in the movie, you could tell she's wearing a wig. And, I mean, we've all been there if you tried being platinum. I was just there a year ago. I had tried to dye my hair so many times, and then I went full-blown platinum. I had tape-in extensions for years because my hair was so scraggle muff. And then when I took my hair out and decided to go au natural, when I looked at my Gollum ass staring right back at me in the mirror, a tear comes to my eye because I'm like, what did I do to my hair? And I keep having these chemicals I have to maintain and keep it on my head. But I felt like brown looked really dull and boring. But it did it on me. On me. I love it on other people. And I still look at photos of girls with beautiful brown, healthy hair, and I'm like, ooh, can I? But every time I do it, I just feel like, oh God, I'm sick of it. So I have to have like a slight amount of coppery blonde in my hair, or else I don't feel like myself. But that's just in my head. It's the same thing I say about people who say they can't wear red lipstick. Yes, you can. You're just not used to seeing yourself with red lipstick. There is a red out there for everybody, and you just got to find the right undertones, which I explained in that little video. But yeah, I just couldn't believe, like, man. And I guess she was wearing wigs until she decided, I'm not going to stop bleaching my hair, but I want to maintain this blonde bombshell vibe. So underneath, she was actually letting her hair grow in healthy, and she had natural brown hair. So I'm so curious if there's any photos out there. I didn't finish the movie, so I have to watch the second half. Maybe they reveal what she looks like when she removes her wig, because also her voice was an act. It was a persona. And so she didn't really sound like that. Her kids were saying when she would be home, she didn't sound like that. She had this, oh, oh, this kind of dumb blonde sound. And, you're like, yeah, well, no wonder people didn't take you seriously when you wanted to transition to being a serious actress, because that's what you've been known for. And now you've got everybody thinking that's what you are. And so that's tough. The world is really hard on women in general when it comes to being beautiful, or if you have big boobs or a big butt or whatever, and then you try to also prove that you have a brain and you're smart and you're a human, you're just never going to get that respect from anybody, from men or women, because people are cruel and women have it really hard, I feel. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to say that little shout out about Jayne Mansfield. Go watch the documentary if you want to see what I'm talking about. There's so much information about her, tons of video out there of her. She was a stunner of a woman. And obviously, there's tons of movies. So I know what I'm doing this week. I will be binging so many 50s and 60s Jayne Mansfield movies and just soaking in all of the glamour. I hope it doesn't make me want to dye my hair again, because there's no way in hell I'm going bleach blonde again. All right, here's the next thing that I wanted to say. A revelation came about when I posted that video about hooded eyes and doing that graphic liner, because something popped into my head, and I didn't say it then, but when you're doing a really big wing because you have hooded eyes and you're chasing the straight line, is the best way I can describe that. You're constantly trying to make the line straight, and especially the older you get and the more textured your eyes become and the more saggy, and it's not built like it used to be. When you're trying to get that straight line, you just end up going bigger and bigger and bigger before it sticks over your entire eyelid. Well, I thought about something. Amy Winehouse had that huge wing. It took up more than her eyelid. It was her eye, her brow. It went up half her face. I mean, that was a mega wing, and it became her staple. What if her staple, not only was she inspired by vintage makeup, which is a known thing, she had the beehive hair, she wore a red lip, she had that big graphic wing, but also, did she have hooded eyes underneath all of that? Because you can't tell. because her eyes are covered in black liner. So I looked it up. I Googled old photos of Amy Winehouse with no graphic wing liner. And there it is. She is hella hooded. She is hooded to the nines. No wonder she decided this is going to be my look, because I guarantee you that one day Amy Winehouse was sitting at her vanity. She was trying to do a graphic wing. And just like the rest of us, she could not make it small because she was hooded. She kept going bigger and bigger and bigger. And then probably what happened was she went out on stage, or she was somewhere where press took photos and were like, whoa, what's this? And it just took off. Now, I don't know that that's exactly how it went down, but I can imagine that's got to be pretty darn close. Now, there could be another storyline to it, but until somebody tells me otherwise, I am convinced that Amy Winehouse had a freaking eyeliner meltdown one day and said, screw it, and just covered her whole eye with a graphic wing. Did you know, too, that if your eyes are sagging so badly that it actually starts to impair your vision slightly? So meaning, like, when you open your eyes, you can't open them fully, or when you open them, you're not in a full range of vision that you would be if you didn't have this skin pushing your eyes closed. You can actually have that covered by your health insurance. Now, not maybe everyone's health insurance, but I had a client who I did makeup on one time, and she had just, I think it had been a few months, and she said, I've never had my makeup done with a hood-free eyelid. And this woman was probably in like her 70s, and she was emotional about it because she's like, I've always dealt with these sagging lids and they've been haunting me my whole life. And I finally got the surgery, and you can see the line where the stitching was ever so slightly. And she said, I've always wanted to just have somebody do my makeup however you feel, so give you free reign. But I've always wanted to know what actual makeup looked like on me at her age, in her 70s, had never had that feeling because she'd always had sagging lids. So by the time she got to be that age, it was so severe, it was closing her eyes. And it was covered by her frickin' insurance. When I heard that, I said, noted. I will be sure to relay that information to as many people as I can. Not all insurances will cover it, but I think a good portion will. So if you're having that issue, consider asking your insurance provider if that's something that they would do, if it's really bad, you know. But man, when we did her makeup and I showed her herself in the mirror at the end of that appointment, she cried. And then I cried because she's like, oh my God, this is beautiful. This is what I've been missing. This is why I do makeup. Because these moments that you have with people when you get to connect with them and just make them feel good. You know, we don't have to feel like we have to wear makeup to love ourselves. And I just make that very clear. But enhancements like this, that without a doubt make you feel better, are just magical moments. And it's a good one. I really love that. It's a story I'll always remember for the rest of my life. And so I wanted to share that with you. But yeah, my theory, Amy Winehouse, hella hooded. So I wanted to just tell you guys about my slight obsession with Bath and Body Works. If you watch my vlogs, you'll know this week coming up, that I haven't edited yet, but this week coming up, there will be a unboxing of some, I don't know why I say a unboxing. I know it's an, but I started doing that and it's a thing I can't stop. I don't know why I do it. It's I did an unboxing. I did an unbox. My mouth doesn't do that. I did a unboxing, pause. And I tell you what, there's this dressed in white lotion that I had for ages. And well, you know, I had it all of last year because lotion lasts forever. So I had it for almost a whole year, probably longer than that actually. And it smells like perfumey, floral. I mean, all the things I don't like. I don't like super perfumey things. I don't like really floral, girly things. But it's something about it that felt like being wrapped in a blanket of flowers when I would go to bed. So I'd get out of the shower and I'd put this like dressed in white Bath and Body Works lotion on, and I just loved it. It became nostalgic. It started to become a happy, nostalgic smell for me. And that's just what Bath and Body Works is for me in general across the board. Right now, I have my candle going. It's gardenia and the whole place smells great. They're also the most intense candles you can ever buy. So they had this sale and I had a coupon and I thought, okay, screw it. I'm just going to go on their website. I haven't done this in forever. I haven't even been into one or purchased anything from a Bath and Body Works in a like really long time. Their sale was crazy, you guys. It was like 75% off of tons of lotions, tons of body washes, candles for $3. It was nuts. It was mass hysteria. It was nuts. I just add to cart, add to cart, add to cart. I was going crazy. So I got two of the men's collection aftershavey, cedary, that sexy man smell, which you guys know I love. And I did decide to give one to my husband because he was like, "Oh, what's all this stuff? Hey, this is men's collection. Is that for me?" And I was like, "Yeah, you can pick one." And so he ended up taking one, but I actually really like to smell like a forest. So even though it says men's collection, I wish that it would just be, you know, gender neutral and just let it be for whoever enjoys that fragrance, because I don't need it to say men's collection on it when it's a very delicious Pacific Northwest wood pine smell that I love, and I it's so great. So I have that in the shower. I also got one called Pistachio, and it's in this really cool I like the bottles look kind of art deco-y, and so I got this pistachio one that's in this green bottle with a gold top, and it's so art deco. That I don't know that I love the smell just out of just when you pop it open and squeeze it and you get that first whiff. I was like, "Oh yeah, not for me at all." It smells kinda like nutty amaretto-y cherry, that kinda thing, which, don't really love for a body wash. But I actually took a shower and tried it, and it's not bad. It's kinda nice, actually. It's a warm smell. So if you like vanillas and musks and cherry and that kinda thing, then you would love it. It was $3. Freaking $3. I had to get it. And then I got all these lotions. One of them is this here that I'm holding, Blush Cardigan. Ugh, it smells like fruit. It smells like Fruit Loops or Cabbage Patch Kid, and it's not the best smell in the world, but nostalgically, for some reason, when I wear these things, I really like them. This is raspberry, violet, and amber, and that is actually exact when I read the notes to it on the back, that is exactly what this smells like. So it does have kind of a raspberry thing. When you think that and you look at the packaging, which is a cardigan, it looks like a little sweater and it's pink, then you're like, "Oh, yeah, raspberry and amber." That's totally it. That's exactly what that smells like, and sometimes you're in the mood for that. So my guilty pleasure is Bath& and Body Works cheap-ass lotions and shower gels that make me feel like I'm a teenager again, because back in the day, my go-to was Japanese blossom. Is it Japanese something blossom? There's a word missing in the middle. Japanese flower blossom? Japanese flower blossom. You guys, I'm glitching. But that was my go-to. That's the funny thing about these smells or these businesses that have been around since we were in school. Like, I always remember smelling like Bath and Body Works lotions. And I will say when you smell it on somebody else, it's kind of offensive. You're like, "Oh God," you don't really want to smell someone else's Bath and Body Works, but your own is great. What is that? Why? Why are we like this? They do come out with a mid-year Halloween line, and it's right now, I think right now it's at Bath& and Body Works where you can buy vampire blood and all of that stuff right now. Everyone who goes into these stores and goes, "Halloween already?" I've even been known to do that, but it's gonna come again. It's gonna come back out again. This is for the people who love their mid-year Halloween stuff, if anybody was wondering about that. All right, now we've had some chats. I just love getting these little chats out of the way about things that are on my mind because I'm tapped into the beauty industry 24/7. I'm constantly getting notifications about things. I feel like I've always got something to say about things I'm seeing out there in the world. So that was like my little makeup chat corner. Let's talk about some of the things that I think are key to doing a really successful trial. And it's when I started doing this, it changed the game. And it also guarantees 100% that you will get that booking because sometimes trials are trials, exactly that. They're trials to see if you vibe with your client, if they like you, they like what you do. And I would say my bookings from doing trials have increased 100%. Like, I've had some people do a trial, we didn't talk through it, we didn't do all these things I'm about to say, and someone's been like, I just don't think makeup is for me. Because I do end up getting a lot of people who just don't wear makeup. I mean, you might even skip lashes on some of these people because they're like, no, I've never worn a lash. That sounds so uncomfortable. But in the trial, they can try it and they can see. And you just got to make sure you tell them that. This is to see if you like the feel of lashes. Do you notice that it goes away eventually? It's like a tampon. Once you put it in and you've worn it for a little while, you forget it's there. You could eventually forget that there's a lash on your eye, but if it's not applied properly and it's poking them, then they're going to feel it all damn day. So make sure you also say if it's poking, it's not supposed to do that. Please do let me know that it has to be 100% comfortable. You're not supposed to feel it, and using really light natural lashes with them. But this is one thing that I started doing, and I swear to God, this is what changed everything for me. I bought a makeup chart book, so you can just get them off Amazon. I will list all this stuff, by the way. When you go sit with your client and you spend that hour and a half to 2 hours, however long it takes you to do your trial, because you're asking questions throughout it too. What do you like? What do you not want? What do you, and then you're kind of getting to know them. At the end of it, write everything you did down in that book and go feature by feature with them holding a hand mirror and looking at themselves and say, all right, we're going to start and warn them this. I warned them in the beginning. By the way, at the very end, we're going to go through each thing, your face, your foundation, how it's wearing, the finish of your foundation, your eyes, your lips. We're going to talk about all of it. And you're going to tell me what you like and what you don't like. And we're going to make adjustments because we want you to love it. And you say that in the very beginning and you instantly get their trust because they're going to be like, okay, she knows what she's doing. If you just start your trial and then you're like, do you like it? And they're like, I don't know. And they're thinking about it. And you're like, all right, well, let me know. You leave this chance that they're going to go home and change their mind because they don't know. They're not sure what just happened. Making sure that they know that you've got them and that you're going to make sure they're going to love it. That's huge. And them knowing that they're taken care of. Say it in the very beginning before you even start your trial. And then that way they know at the end. There's also going to be, they're not going to think, okay, we're done, we're wrapping it up, now I can leave. No, we've got another 15 minutes of going over this whole thing. That's what this trial is for. So what I do is I hold the book and I say, your face. Do you like this finish? Do you want it more matte? Do you want it more glowy? Do you like it just where it is? Is it too much? Do you want less? I just had a package come, so I ran downstairs. Pardon if I am a little winded. I'm going to hopefully not be too breathy. It's actually my skincare. Go take a look of the vlog this week. I'll unbox it over there. You'll want to go feature by feature and just making sure face, starting at the base, what do you like this finish? And then this blush, do you like this color? Would you rather have it more mauve, more rose, more peach? A lot of times if they're not a makeup person, they're going to go, I don't know. Or if they say, I don't want as much. This is when your expertise needs to come in because you know that in the photographs, because you've been doing this and you've been told by photographers, the blush needs to be turned up just a little bit because it's going to really fade out in the photos. Having a nice balance of a bright enough cheek that it actually shows up on camera is going to be important. And this just helps the face not look super flat and lifeless in her photos. You want her to look like the blushing bride, remind them, use that term. Say it's a blushing bride thing. You want to see color on your cheeks. In photographs, you'll want a little bit more than normal. Don't go crazy though, because that'll scare them away. Don't scare them away. And then brows, lashes, lips, try a few. Don't just do one. Even if you like the one you did on them, maybe do a second so they can see the options. Swipe the options on their wrist so you can see it, so they can look at it and see it. That helps with eyes, that helps with any color you put on their face. A lot of times too, what you think an eyeshadow is going to look like in the pan is not how it's going to look on their face. Some people's skin oxidizes color in a way that you're like, what the hell? I've seen it. I've seen it before my very own eyes. I would put like a deep plum on somebody thinking it was deep plum, and it turns up straight up just electric purple. It helps you figure out what their taste is too, because we're not mind readers. And a lot of people think that you are. A lot of people think that we just look at them and we're like magicians and we know how to make it look great. We'd like to think that we are, but in reality, everyone's different. People have different taste in their minds of what they like, and we can't know what that is until we talk and start chatting about the options. It's a little bit more involved than that. Don't let them say you're the expert, you do you. That's too much pressure. I write their names on the page of the book, and I also write what the theme of the makeup look was. So when I look back at it, as soon as I see Soft Peachy Glam as the title, it all comes back to me of what we did when we did that trial. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. We did a soft peachy glam. Also, here's tip number 2. Actually, there was like 5 tips in there, so I don't know what number we're on. But technically, that was all about the face chart book. Tip number 2, take before and after photos for the trial and create an album under the name of that bride. So you can easily look back at it, especially if you take multiple bookings. I'm saying bride, but whoever it is, your event goer, writing down the theme of what you do so that you can look back at it, and then also having their name in a folder before photos, after photos. Ask them if you can share it on your Instagram to help promote yourself. There's multiple reasons why before and afters are effective, especially because people will see your work. So if you get permission to put this on your profiles and you show what the before was, sometimes you'll have somebody who had problematic skin that you were able to completely cover up. But no one would know that when they look at the after. They're just like, oh, that's great makeup. But when you see that difference and lets people swipe before and after, that shows your skill. So that's what you want. Get those before and afters. Ask them if you can, but I ask every single person, are you comfortable with me getting photo and video for socials, or also just for reference for me to look back at? And they're 9 times out of 10 going to say yes. The night before, I usually look back over all of our notes, make sure there's not anything I missed. Sometimes I don't have a product that I needed to grab to make sure I had it for that day. So I make that note on the page. Make sure you get natural demi wispies, or make sure you get a brown mascara if I don't have one, or whatever we've discussed. Make sure you have all the things that you made notes about for this particular person, and that way you can go get it. And so I look at all that stuff a day or two before the event, and then the morning of, when I'm there, I open their book and I have it on the table and I read through all of the notes right before they sit down. And then as we're going, I just double check I'm using that right eyeshadow tone that we chose. I'm using the right blush tone. I'm doing the finish we talked about. Giving people that time to talk it through with them and ensure that they're getting exactly what they want. So, so important. And it's really also, I've noticed a shift in my energy when I'm sitting with a client, that I'm like more confident in what we're about to do. And I feel like I'm in control of the situation. Know what you're doing. Let them know you know what you're doing. And you sound like you know what you're doing when you say this is how it's going to go. The day of the event, you will notice how much quicker you're able to do all of it. You're not going to be chatting or asking questions or thinking or picking stuff out and sitting there looking at your makeup kit going, what should I do next? You're not going to do any of that because you're going to have it all written down. So you can grab for your product and do the makeup as quick as can be. You still want to obviously take time on their skin and take care of them and exfoliate if you have to, their lips, or doing your lip masks, doing your eye masks if you want to do that beforehand. Prep their skin really well. Just make them a glowy, beautiful goddess and make them look their best. I love it when I do makeup and we're done and she's getting her veil on and her finishing touches, and she turns around and her friends immediately cry. Even though that sucks because I just did everyone's makeup and I'm like, don't cry. You're going to cry off everything we've done, even though it should be cry proof. It should be cry proof, but sometimes, yeah, that's always like, oh, I've done my job, when everybody gets emotional when the bride turns around after getting their makeup and their hair done. Such a special moment. So that is the rewarding part of being a part of all of this, is that you're there for such an amazing time in their lives, and you're part of that memory. You are part of creating this fantasy and this fairy tale. It's just really fun. It's a really fun thing. It's so stressful. And I say every time I do really crazy ones that that's the last. I'm retiring. If anything, I have a podcast. So instead of retiring from doing it for actual clients, I now have tons of tips to give people about things that I've learned in this business. These are really cool, I think, cool tips. I hope I don't sound preachy. I've listened back to a couple of my past episodes and I'm like, Sienna, you're on your preach. I always, of course, mean well. I just want to help. So those are my greatest tips for doing a trial, is talking through every step of the way, writing everything down in your makeup book. I do sometimes when I'm using those face charts, we'll take the color of the lipstick and put it across the lip. take my finger and just, I don't do face charts. Like when you work for Mac, you actually have to do beautiful face charts, or I don't know if they have to do that anymore, but back in my day, we used to have to once a week or twice a week do a face chart and practice looks with new product. I'm not doing it to practice looks, I'm doing it as a reference. So having the color on the lip and the color on the eye, as well as titling it, are things that help me instantly look at it and have flashbacks of what we've done. Make sure you get some of it down. I don't always remember to do it. And then by the end of the day, I'm packing up my kit, shut my book, and I put everything away, and I'm like, crap, I forgot to swatch the face chart with the color. It just really helps. It's not 100% necessary, but I will say it does help, especially if there's a specific technique, like you've got a hooded eye and you're like, go this way with the liner. You can make a little note and draw it onto the face chart. That'll help you down the road. That's all I've got for this episode of the Vanity Table podcast, you guys. I am available on Amazon Music. I'm available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify podcasts. I have a YouTube channel. I'm everywhere. Please do go follow and listen over there. And thank you so much for listening. I will talk to you guys on the next one. Bye.